Welcome to Failure to Stop Friday. StreamYard has given us multiple warnings that something is going on at StreamYard as far as it's streaming to YouTube. So I have no idea what platforms we're streaming to right now. It says, my computer says I have tons of internet, and StreamYard says I have zero internet. We have about 8 people in the live chats, but it shows 0 people waiting in the live chat. So I don't know what's going on, but we're going to see what's up today. So for those of you who I can see in the live chats, now it's saying there's over 11 people in the live chats. I don't know what's going on, but Bosco Autry, I can see you with my own eyes. Tyler S, Loren M, what's up, guys? Tyler S, Wazman, all the way from the UK. Neichkin from Sweden. Another shrimp on the bobby sends us $13 super sticker. Thank you so much, Neichkin. It's good to see all you guys. Looks like I saw, Santana True Crime's in here. Jonathan, Deadleg is here. Ryan Alosio, what's up? Armory Knight, what's up? Everybody's starting to gather in. Big show for you guys today as we talk about the involved shooting of Deshawn Best. And this is going to be quite the breakdown. Today's show brought to you by ghostbed.com/Wolfpack. And we have factormeals.com/Wolfpack50. Josh, hit us with an intro.
The growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on
This is
Sunday.
about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
Guns up, giddy up. Welcome to Failure Stop Friday, the #1 show for big case breakdowns. This we had a lot, actually. We had a lot of cases making it into the news this week. And it was really hard for us to try to figure out which case we wanted to cover. I think that's funny that when the political shift changes, all of a sudden cop cases become headline news again. About 3 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, we used to have to try to find a case. Like, what's a big case in the news we can break down? Now I feel like if we get on the news, there's a new controversial police shooting. So I say that to say this: be careful. If you're a first responder of any kind, be careful out there because they're waiting for you to screw up. The mainstream media wants you to fail now more than ever. They want some kind of a crazy divide. And I noticed this very early too this week is that we had the stabbing with the high school student. We're not going to break that down today, but I did want to give my opinion on it because so many of you guys have reached out and said, like, Eric, what do you think about this? And so I posted something on Facebook. It was very friendly. I said, was it self-defense or was it something else? And then I wrote a little blurb, and I don't know, it's like 500 comments or something like that between Facebook and Instagram. And most of them are very negative. Like, oh, this is dangerous rhetoric. Why would you post stuff like this? Why are you doing this? You're just trying to get clicks and we shouldn't be talking about this. Well, if you remember, guys, that when Daniel Penny did the choking on the subway, I said, hold on. Let's wait. Let's wait for the facts to come out. Let's take a look at it. Like, let's all just calm down. There's probably more to the story. Let's just wait a minute. Kyle Rittenhouse. I said from the very early beginning, I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't look good, but I mean, he says he crossed state lines. Like, what does that even mean? Because I'm reading reports that he was a lifeguard in that town. He's a first responder, but now he's a bad. So let's just wait. The same with the stabbing case. My point is, it doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on politically. The justice system is supposed to be blind politically. And if we're going to go down the rabbit hole of socially judging folks, which has become a very dangerous practice, more people are going to be imprisoned falsely. And Daniel Holtzclaw is a perfect excuse. If we went back 8 or 9 years ago to the Holtzclaw case, it was at the political height. Everything was racism and everything was social justice. It was right at the beginning of all that. Cancel culture had just began. It just started. And Daniel Holtzclaw is now serving 200 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. There's evidence. And the people that his victims even admitted that they were lying will testify under PCP on the stand. She failed the drug test. She was high on the stand. They still let her testify. They refused to explain things to the jury like trace DNA, how important it is to know the definition of trace DNA, because if you knew the definition of trace DNA, then you wouldn't have been duped by mainstream media and the social media public where they were like, DNA found on Daniel Holtzclaw, DNA, vaginal DNA, when there was no vaginal DNA whatsoever. There was trace DNA from the victim who he had a traffic stop with, and like 200 other people, you know what I mean, that he came in contact throughout the day. So trace DNA is a big deal. But anyway, it was all because of social media, and it was because of mainstream media that Daniel Holtzclaw is spending 200 years in prison. Now, do I think that this kid is probably guilty of stabbing this guy in the chest and it is murder, and that they should probably seek first-degree murder? Sure. But we don't know. He is claiming that it was self-defense. Were you there? I wasn't there. Do we have video? We don't have video. You haven't seen it. We don't know. And we have to have this presumption of innocence if we're going to have a fair and balanced system. So asking the questions, is it self-defense, is not dangerous.
No, and you have to be able to have those questions asked out loud, because then you're able to apply that to other cases. And then the thing is social media isn't a jury of your peers. Social media is literally just social media. If the algorithm wants to put a bunch of people that don't like your content together on your content, that's what the algorithm is going to put together. And that's the people who are going to see your content. And that's what's going to comment on your content. That's the opinions that you're going to see. So if you're only seeing negative opinions of something from social media, maybe you think that that's the negative thing, but then you actually see the facts of the case and you see like, oh, maybe Kyle Rittenhouse, maybe that was self-defense, or maybe with Breonna Taylor, maybe the media lied in that. Maybe they don't have the facts, or maybe they're not reporting the facts. Maybe they're reporting things as opinion or how they feel about something, and they're reporting it as a fact. This case out of Texas, it's one, we weren't there. Two, the police believe that they have enough to arrest this kid. They have enough to go through the investigation, and they're working through it. Screaming at Facebook and screaming at each other on Facebook isn't doing anything for the victim, don't do anything for the victim's family, don't do anything for the suspect, don't do anything for the criminal justice system. So we have to, with police work and investigations, everything takes time, unfortunately. And guess what we've done the last couple of years? We've defunded the police. So we don't have money to hire detectives to spend the time to be able to go and say, hey, we have 800 hours of stuff to go through, and I only have 2 detectives. Or I've got 800 hours and I've got the entire division to go through this. We're going to crack it out this weekend. We don't have the money to do that anymore. So
let me address the chance. I knew this was going to rile things up. And again, this is not today's breakdown. Today's breakdown is not this stabbing. This is today's breakdown is Deshawn Best, which is a case that we chose last night. It was very difficult to choose. It was almost like we rock, paper, scissors which case to take, because it was between 3 cases. We have a case that we'll probably break down next week, where a woman is being butchered in a bathroom, kidnapped by a homeless man and tortured, and the cops won't go in. The cop wouldn't go in. Then we have this case, and of course we have the stabbing that just happened. But somebody says like, no matter what, it's a felony that he brought a knife to school. Well, let's just listen again. I'm not defending this kid at all. I do feel like in my heart he's probably guilty, but I'm not going to take a stance on saying that he's guilty because the court hasn't gone through, and I don't know all the facts of this case. And I think that, like, I have a lot of biases in this case because I don't have any evidence. So all I have is biases. All I have is this bias. It's a very subjective view of what I have from this stabbing, right? Like, I obviously want to side with the child who was not carrying a knife and who was sitting in his own tent. And this kid, but again, just because you're found with a knife on your chest, I mean, a bloody knife on somebody's chest, and you remove that bloody knife and you give CPR, so you're covered in blood and your fingerprints on it, does not mean that you stab that person, no matter what perception is. Now, I'm sure he's going to be found guilty, but I think it's very dangerous to make comments like, well, it's hard to be innocent when you're the one that brought a knife to a school to attract me. Listen, I don't want to get myself into trouble, but I have carried a gun everywhere that I go all of the time. I carry a gun in places that I probably shouldn't. And sometimes I even forget that I have my gun on. And so I fuck up. Yesterday was one of those cases where I was like, oh shit, I should probably not have my gun. I wasn't even thinking about this today. I'm going to go back out to the car and drop this bad boy off. And then I may or may not have done that. I might have just went on about my business. No, I'm just kidding. I would never advocate for you doing something that you should not do like that. That's I'm not trying to do that here on the show. But what I'm saying is, let's just say something crazy. Let's just say, for an example, what if I took my kids skateboarding and we happened to go skateboarding near a school and I had my gun on me and an active shooter started doing shooting, and I pull out my concealed weapon and I don't have a license to be carrying on in that area, and it's a no gun zone, and I shoot the bad guy. Am I guilty of murder because I shot and killed somebody where I wasn't supposed to have a gun? So I don't know if I just saying, I don't know if I buy that logic. You know, my son is homeschooled. He carries a knife everywhere he goes, and you know, he always has a knife on him. And so sometimes, you know, like, we don't even think about things like that. Now my son also knows that stabbing somebody is out of the question. But listen, is the guy probably guilty? I would say, if I had to bet, if you were like, Eric, put money on this right now, I would put money on he's guilty. But I'm not going to be in the business of jumping on social media, making all these emotional assumptions on a case I absolutely know nothing about, and only the media has given me information on what's going on with this case. So I'm not going to emotionally involve myself the same way I'm not going to emotionally involve myself with this, which I can see the body camera. I can see what actually happened on this Deshawn Best case. We can see with our own eyes what's going on, and we can play this out, and we can talk about facts of the case because we can see facts. We cannot do that on the stabbing case. That doesn't exist because we don't even have pictures. We don't have any video. We have no evidence. We haven't heard from the witnesses. We haven't seen witness statements. So at the end of the day,
I can help add to your stuff. Describe the knife. Describe it. Tell me what the knife is. Describe a knife. Describe a knife in general. Because, you know, what is a knife? A knife is a pokey thing. Well, this could be a knife. This has got a fixed blade on it. This could be what is a knife? Like, a lot of that has to do, like, if you have
I'm guessing if he stabbed the dude in the chest, it was probably a pretty decent knife.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying though.
I get what you're saying. Like,
more goes into it. Like, if he's got a 13-foot machete, that shows a little bit more intent than, hey, I just, you know, had a pocket knife and I picked this up and it was a self-defense, versus I picked this great big, you know, 6-inch long blade out. We have to let the facts come out. Not only that, especially with the case that we have to report the facts as what the facts are. We can't speculate and say, oh, I just
don't know why you care. Like, what does it matter? You know what I mean? Like, you don't know if it was racism. You don't know what's going on. Obviously, there is a culture war. I understand that. Like, that's what we talk about on FAWKES News. Go and follow that podcast. It's really great. By the way, before we jump into the case, we'll get into our Tanstradamus predictions on FAWKES, and that we were right again, which is, you know, awesome. C- students at best. Completely right. You should have listened to the episode and you'll know. But at the end of the day, there is a culture war, and kids are, I mean, I don't want to say kids are going to be kids, but we know that there's a cultural problem, and starting a race war over a cultural problem. I just don't know. Why do we need to be ganging up on what is it going to prove? What does it help the system to pit this kid against everything else? Like, I just, maybe I can't even articulate it. I just don't know why everybody's so passionate about it. Like, you're not passionate about when somebody has a drive-by shooting and they're going and trying to open up their bodega and they take one in the back. You're not upset when a grandmother sends her daughter into the kitchen to make her a bowl of ice cream, and a shooting outside happens and the bullet goes through the window and, you know, hits the little girl. You're like, nobody cares about that. And there's obvious gang violence that caused this, and an innocent person died, and we don't care. That, but you literally only care when it is a white student and a black student, or a black guy and a white guy. Like, that's the only time we care, because it fuels the culture war. Guys, I hate to break it to you, but this shit happens every day in the hood and the ghetto. Like, there are gang members on all sides of the fence. There are dangerous, violent motorcycle gang members that accidentally kill people or stab people to death in parking lots, or pick fights, or cause car accidents and crazy shit all of the fucking time, and nobody cares. We only care because this is race and the media is telling you to care. And then you're all just buying into it, and then sending me 15,000 messages on about me making some kind of sense, which I also think is very silly, is to pigeonhole me into Oh, I'd love to know. Oh, I'm so ready for you to make a comment on this. Oh, I can't wait for you to make what are you going to get out of my comment? Well, what kind of satisfaction and thrill are you getting from my opinion? You know that my take has been for 5 years that I try to do an objective case where I try to leave my personal emotions out of these cases as best as I possibly can. I give you an objective answer on a case backed by as many facts and life experience as I possibly can. So with that being said, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but you can stop asking me about what I think about these kids and this tragic murder of a twin brother that makes me want to cry because I have Irish twins. Like, they're not even identical twins, but they're born within a year apart. And they act like twins. They look alike, they act alike, and they are inseparable. And I can't imagine, my heart would just, I can't imagine them being separated and one of them being killed. It would just fucking tear me apart, man. It would be super bad. So with all of that, that is my thing on that particular case. And again, my personal opinion really doesn't matter. So today's case, though, Deshawn Best, we have tons of video surveillance. We have some 911 audio to back up this case. So I think we'll be able to objectively break down today's case. Today's show is brought to you by ghostbed.com/Wolfpack Sleep. So good, it's scary. Woo. Last night I got into my bed and the temperature went from 90 degrees to like 40 something degrees here in North Carolina. And the cooling sheets and cooling technology, it works so well that I had to get up and turn on the heater last night because my bed was just cold. So it's just we're in that weird stage where it's like you have to adjust the thermostat, but it reminds me of how good the cooling technology in Ghost Beds. And plus, I love the massage topper, and I'm a huge fan of that massage topper. And this Ghost Bed deal is going to end at the probably end of this month. I think so. I would guess it has to be the end of this month. When they gave us a 90-day warning, and we're well into that 90-day warning so if you want that 40 to 50% off on the Ghost Bed pillow, which the pillow will last you forever, the massage topper or the Ghost Bed with the adjustable base, all those things, if you want that 40 to 50% off site wide, you better go use that promo code, and you better go use it now because that's going to be it. And we've been with Ghost Bed for like 5 years, but Ghost Bed is switching things up. They're a USA made in America company. It's a family run company, literally. There are family members that work in customer service, that work in manufacturing, and that work in research and development. I've been down to the facility in Southern Florida. I've met these people. I'm a huge fan of all of the people over at Ghost Bed. And so I don't know what's going to happen next month or where it's going or what our contract's going to look like, but I will always and forever be loyal to Ghost Bed no matter what happens or what their rebranding is. And I wouldn't expect somebody to stick with us for more than 5 years. I mean, it's crazy. We've sold a lot of beds in 5 years, and it's been a wild ride. Don't know if it's going away. I don't know if it's going away completely. I just know it's all going to change. And so if you want to use that promo code, I'm not joking around. Go and use it now. Wolfpack50. All right, let's play this beautiful body camera footage. You want to give us a little backstory on this, Josh?
Yeah, I could set it up. There's not a whole lot of setup. There's a funeral going on in the hood, and there is a report of a fight. And with this report of a fight, there's a report that a person has a gun, and they're reportedly in a black Tahoe. And police officers come upon a black Tahoe with 2 occupants in it, and the following happens.
Bravo Papa 1658 -44 on the old blue Chevy Tahoe color black.
Oh, car's parked.
2027 to 30 compliance.
They made contact with the driver, and they're getting the driver out.
Can you just step out?
Now they're making contact with the passenger.
We just got to pat you guys both down because somebody said something about a firearm.
The firearm down there.
Okay, well, we got it. Well, now we're here. So if you got nothing, then it's quick, and then we'll let you go.
So he's got a cell phone in his right hand, a cell phone in his left hand, and he's also got, and I'm going to, because they made sure to specifically note this in the police report. Remy Martin, is that a specific alcohol? I don't really drink.
Yeah. So, alcohol I used to write about this when I was a wine blogger. By the way, I am a sommelier and a certified special wine. I'm a huge wine nerd. If anybody knows me, you know that wine is my biggest passion. You know, some guys are shooters and gun nuts. Some guys are, physical fitness. I'm a wine guy. I love studying wine, and I have many wine certifications. And so anyway, I once was writing a blog on beverage and social and cultures. And it was so edgy back in the day because they were like, you can't say that. You can't say that there are black brands, but there's 100% black brands. Like if a black person comes into a wine store, you can automatically assume they want one of three things. And that's it. And it's all of them. So it's like very easy to sell, where it's like sometimes if you have like a 40-year-old like Southern woman, you can pretty much back in the day bet she was looking for Chardonnay. Like, you know what I mean? You could just tell there was a type. It was very easy. And I wrote this blog about it. It didn't get published because it was too edgy. But yes, Remy, that is one of the three brands that yes, you sell. It's, I don't know why it matters. And I don't know why it is. I don't know why it's a thing. I don't know why certain cultures, adopt one beverage and try nothing else, because Remy's not much different than Montadon or anything else. I mean, there's nothing different about it than a lot of other champagnes. I mean, slightly different. So why you would just be on one of those brands is it's a cultural thing. Like it's literally a status symbol at that point, and that's it. Like there's no reason to be married to that brand. There's nothing special about it that's different than any other champagnes. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Stop! I'm gonna tase you.
We're in a foot pursuit. He literally ran out of his shoes. I don't know if you see that. Here, I'll go back just a little bit. When he gets to the parking lot here, turns for the corner. He literally runs out of his shoes in the parking lot of the gas station here.
Yeah. I mean, it's more important to maintain your appearance and your swagger than it is to be prepared for actual ops. You know what I mean? Because somebody wrote that thing. He was like, trying to catch somebody slacking on ops at the funeral, which I think is funny. It's what all the cool kids are saying right now is running ops. But yeah, but don't worry about wearing a belt or tying your shoes. If we're going to be in a gunfight, let's make sure our shoes are untied and our paper hanging around our ass. Like, again, it's all theatrics. So the same with Tricky Remy Martin, it's all theatrics. Like, it's look at me. We have a lifted truck with mud tires. We live in the inner city, so we don't need that. So again, that's just for theatrics. We're carrying a gun, but we have our shoes untied and our pants hanging down around our ass. So again, the gun is just theatrics. And then we have Remy Martin, which is like a $50 bottle of champagne from Champagne, France. That is, again, more of a status symbol than it is anything else. So again, all theatrics here. Nothing is real. Nothing of substance.
Units on for pursuit.
Cinco gas, no left! Touch gas, get the car out!
Stop screaming.
Shots fired, shots fired.
Okay, so I have a lot to break down in this video, and I think some of you are going to be very upset with me, and I hope that you're not. I hope that you would just listen to me for a minute. Listen to me. Hear what I'm going to say to you.
Do you want to get the second view first, or do you want to go through the first one?
No, we're going to go through the second view. Before we go through the yeah, go ahead. Let's just go. Let's do the second view, and then let me I'm going to break this down piece by piece, and I'm going to say some things. And I'm not saying it to stir shit. I'm saying this because I want you to be protected, and I want you to be safe, and I want our women in law enforcement to be safe, and I want our men in law enforcement to be safe. And I think safety trumps feelings. And so what I'm going to say is going to hurt your feelings, but I feel like if you really just pay attention to what I'm saying this out of love, and I'm saying this out of genuinely caring for people who are trying to uphold a noble profession.
The other thing is this attorney, before we get too far into it, the attorney's going to say that they need to get a warrant to get him out and all this stuff. Well, Pennsylvania v. Mims says that you can get a driver out, and it was Maryland v. Wilson in 1997 that applies to passengers. And not only that, they have probable cause to stop them. They're there for a lawful reason.
Died just now. I'm over. Yo.
On the run.
32 full pursuit. Eastbound on Boston Ave. Yo, you're gonna get tased. You're gonna get fucking tased.
Runs out of his shoe. Taser deployment. Ineffective.
Yo!
Drop the bottle of wine.
Yo! 32 shots fired.
Did you catch it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course I got it.
Yo!
So they render aid, and here we go back here to the beginning. So they render aid, and he's transported to the hospital and is pronounced deceased at the hospital. They, not to get too far ahead of things again, they found a high point compact 9mm handgun right next to where he fell. We might have lost Eric. So while I'm waiting for him, is he coming back?
I can see me, but
I can hear you. I can hear you again. All right.
So I mean, I want to go. You said you can hear me, right?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, so I want to break this down. And I don't want to be mean to women police officers. That's not what I'm trying to do. I know that there are lots of great women police officers in my book. Pig Latin, a seriously funny true story. I talk about my partner Red quite a bit. However, we have a new wave of police officers, a new generation of police officers that are being raised as young police officers by bad police parents. We got these old heads that are teaching terrible doctrine these days. We're not teaching the warrior mindset. I preached about it enough on this show. But we're also we're not holding everybody to the same standard, and that is the standard that would win against any kind of violent conflict. And what I mean by that is, back in the day, there was a time where like state troopers would only hire you if you were a certain height and of a certain stature and a certain weight. And the reason they did that was because it actually decreased the use of violence. If you are getting out of the car with somebody who is physically fit, who looks the part, who looks good, who looks like they're going to chase you down, you are less likely to want to engage them in a fight. What's more important, having more female cops, having more fat cops, having more really super skinny, thin cops, and having a diverse field of police, or having less uses of force and yet less police involved shootings? What's more important? And I mentioned that because we have some really bad tactics. And one of the things I don't want to do is Monday morning quarterback on this show. However, we're going hands-on. We know that there's a gun in the car, or we've been told that there's a gun in the car. You have talked on the radio to the point where you know that you guys are all coming in force. Like, we've got like 4 or 5 cops here, which shows me, because we know how out of hand a funeral can get. There's an emotionally charged event. There are usually emotionally charged folks there. A lot of families coming together. It is a melting pot of bad ingredients, and they can go sideways at any moment. So they know this, and they're accustomed to this kind of thing. And so they have shown up with like 5 or 6 cops, and they go straight to the car and they open the car door up. So that means that they know more probably than not that there is a gun in this car. She opens this car. They both open this car like they're not ready for a gunfight. Why are you not like, what are, like, at this point, you're not de-escalating anything. You should be coming up there, holding that guy in the car. If you really think that there's going there, and I know that there's a fine line between being too aggressive and not aggressive enough, but she opens this door and backs way the fuck up. She doesn't put her hands on his hands. Who's to say he doesn't draw that gun and blast her in the face right now? She doesn't close the distance. She allows him out. Look, he's already, stop. I was right there. He already has the gaze. He already has the indicator of looking where he wants to run. Look at his eyes. He is not looking at her. He's not engaged in conversations with her. He is looking, where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? Like, he's giving you the indicators that you should have been taught in the academy. We've all been through this. She allows him to face away from him and then just take off. And then we have this other cop who is reacting to this, and he's passing her. He's also talking calmly on the radio, and she's screaming. When the gunshots happen, she slows down, and the other cop visibly accelerates in running. Do you see what I'm saying here? Like, we're like, I'm not trying to come down on women cops. I'm not saying it's because she's a woman, but what I'm pointing out here is there is a very distinct difference between a warrior and this female. And I don't want this female backing me up. I don't want anybody, man or woman, that's going to act like this backing me up. She was scared from the get-go, and that's why he took off on her, because she was weak and she showed weakness. She presented herself. She did not present herself as the authoritarian, as the authority in this matter. And he took advantage of that, and he took off, and he's dead because of it. He's not dead because the other cop was a warrior. He's dead because this cop was too skittish to do her job. She didn't have the confidence. And I'm not knocking her. That's her department's fault for not giving her a warrior mindset. That's her training officers. That's the culture of her police department not giving her the tools necessary to be confident in going hands-on, into being confident and showing confidence. Sometimes, you know, you don't have, your bark can be louder than your bite, and that will work. You know what I mean?
Did you have people fail out of your class? So did you have
Yes.
people that you started with?
Yes,
Exactly.
we started with 57 and we graduated like 24, I think.
Exactly. My class, the same thing. We had people literally be removed from the class. And when you get to the FTO program, that's part of the whole thing, is you get like that, you learn and you start to, as an FTO, you put your rookies and your trainees, like, one of the first things I'd like to do in like the first 2 weeks of when I got a new rookie assigned to me is I would put them, they don't necessarily know that they're in a training environment or situation, but I have them in somewhat of a controlled environment to where I can kind of see with their pucker factor, see what's going to happen when she hits the fan, that I know that this person in the car beside me is going to have my back, man, woman, or child, whatever. I need to know that this person that's carrying a gun and is my backup, my partner's backup, that person needs to be there and be competent and able to perform their duties. If not, use of force happens. When people think that they can get away with things, they want to push the envelope. They want to push, like John can probably talk just for days about how prisoners just, that's all they do is they push buttons, try to push the system. That's all they're doing, is trying to see how much you can get. So right from the get-go, as soon as, that's one of the, like Erin was talking about the suspect looking at, I watched hands and eyes. If I can see where your hands are and watch where your eyes are looking where you want to go, and your hands are doing what you want to do. If I can see your eyes and your hands, this guy's hands are full. He's trying to figure out what he wants to do. His eyes are not dealing with, he's looking anywhere but dealing with this officer. And like Eric said, I don't want to just dunk on female cops, but you have to understand that someone lost their life. Like, there was an opportunity here to potentially use force and put physical hands on someone and take physical control of someone. Yeah, you might have to wrestle with them. Yeah, you might have to do an arm bar. Yeah, you might have to do some, knee strikes in the side of the leg. But that's not shooting someone. That's not dealing with the situation. And I get to, if you come up on a situation, you don't want to come in too hot and heavy, you don't want to come in guns a-blazing and it turns out to be nothing. And then you have the other side of this coin, everybody gets stopped, and look how many cops, you got 9 cops out of here for just these 2 guys in the car, and there's nothing here and there's nothing going on. It's this fine line, but at some point during these situations, someone has to like grow a pair and go, all right, I'm in charge. This thing on my chest says I'm in charge. I tell you when you get out of the vehicle. I tell you when you can move. I tell you when you're detained. I am in charge. You are God and everything on the side of the road on that scene, period. You can figure it out in court later. You can get an attorney later. The DA is going to throw the case out, whatever. But on the side of the road, you have to maintain positive control of the subjects and the scene. If not, stuff like this can happen.
Yeah, you're exactly right. In this case, it's like, well, what could she have done better? I mean, we know that, he only has one avenue of escape, and it's not through the door. It's out that other way. So you should be ready. You should be prepared and ready for this guy to run. If you're already, like I said, you've got 3 or 4 cops there, so you knew the potential of this to go sideways is a real threat, and you chose not to be ready. And this guy takes off slower than molasses, and she doesn't even come close to catching him from the start because she was not ready. She didn't have the mindset to be ready. By the way, he does have his hands full. So I understand. I get you there. Like, that's great. He's not going to pull a gun with all that shit in his hands, but you're still not ready for this foot pursuit. You're not ready for him to take off. It's because you weren't mentally prepared for it. You've got to be mentally ready. And I just hope that if you're any cop watching this, male or female, that that when you go to step somebody else, you have to be mentally prepared. Have I been caught off guard? Yes, I've been talked out of those things, and I paid dearly. I got my ass whooped. I talked about it in the book. I've talked about it here on this podcast before. But on top of that, we have this girl screaming. Everybody else is being pretty calm, and then is that her walking right here?
That's where she starts to slow down.
And this guy passes her. She was the first cop, and she's being passed by everyone. And then I know on the other video, it was very clear that when the shot's fired, she gasps and slows down. And you can visibly see the other guys go, fuck, and take off running faster. You know what I mean? And I want to be serving with people who are going to go faster and not are going to drop back. With your instinct is to drop back like that. When your buddies are in a gunfight around the corner, she wasn't moving to cover. She wasn't moving anywhere. What's the movie with Denzel Washington and the little girl, Man on Fire, and she hears the clap of the gun for swimming, and it makes her pause, and that's why she's missing a second in her swimming to teach her not to be afraid of the clap. She needs to be reminded that why is she going to the door? If you have all of these other cops there that are obviously warriors, that are all faster than her, why aren't they going to the door? And that bothers me, because what we're doing, this is real life, and you guys think it's not. Like, you guys think this is a fucking game. Policing's not a fucking game. This is real life shit, guys. Like, your life depends, your family depends on you for things. You have a job. You have people that you're responsible for. And here you are pretending to be a cop. You're playing cop. You're playing with your life, and you're not taking it seriously. You're not taking your job seriously. You weren't prepared when you had all of the indicators that this thing was going to go south. You chose to drop back. You didn't choose to step up. You didn't get in your rugby stance, your football stance. You didn't get in your "you're not going anywhere, bitch" stance. You didn't have that mindset of, not today. I'm not the girl. I'm not the bitch. I served with Red. She's in my book. She had that bravado where, she would show, like, she might get her ass beat by this guy, but she would never show it. She was like, "Oh, I dare you to run, motherfucker. I dare you to run." I watched her kick a guy in the back of the head and bounce his head off of a curb that tried to run on her, because she was ready. She was in her stance. She was ready. She saw the indicators. And right when he went to stand up, she booted him, because she had a mindset. We had a culture at our department where it taught a warrior mindset. That culture is kind of disappearing because they're not teaching warrior mindset anymore. Last Row says, "I would never slow down for you." You would have to run backwards to slow down, Lopez. I've seen you try to do some 3-gun stuff. I've watched you try to be athletic on the paintball course. And I'm just saying right now, in order for you to go any slower, you would have to literally run backwards. But I appreciate your comment, and I love you.
I've got one more view. This one's slowed down.
Before we go to this view, today's show brought to you by factormeals.com/0. Factor Meals. bringing you a new keto menu here. If you want to get keto friendly, also we can do protein heavy with factory meals. You can do calorie conscious with factory meals. Literally hundreds of menu items, and then we have all these add-ons to go with the menu items. So we've got smoothies and shakes. You can meal plan however you want to. You want to do breakfast and lunch, breakfast and dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can do whatever you want with Factor Meals. All you got to do is go on to factor75.com, use the promo code Wolfpack50 at checkout, but you can literally pick out everything you need for the week from snacks. You don't ever have to go to a grocery store. They've got little bitesy snacks that you can pack with you. They've got little ice cream bundles. And again, these are fresh, never frozen things that are delivered right to your door. They come in this beautiful box. It's got Nordic ice in it. They've got sausages and steaks, all this stuff. You literally don't have to go grocery shopping anymore. Don't have to put gas in your car, go to the grocery store, do all the stuff in the line, do the checkout, come home, cook everything, separate everything, look for your Pyrex dishes and all the lids and all the confusing stuff. And then you have dishes to do afterward. You can cut all of that out, keep it simple. Go to factor75.com, use a promo code Wolfpack50, 50% off, and start your meal planning right now. And you can get jacked and swole like me, and you can lose a whole bunch of weight like Josh over here, because Josh has been on that Factor Meals right now. John's up on those Factor Meals. We all are on those Factor Meals here at the Failure to Stop family. Factor Meals is with us for the whole rest of the year. So you're going to hear a lot of them, you're going to hear a lot about Factor Meals from us. Head over to factormeals.com right now. Summer's coming, baby. If you want to guilt-free slam hot dogs down your gullet, now's the time to start losing weight so that you can do that. Nishkin sending $65 in the super chat, says Pig Latin. If you want to read a very visually descriptive scene of Eric handling his first assignment. Yes. That is, you know, and like, I think the book gets a lot crazier after that story, but that story does definitely stick with a lot of people. And it's almost like I was destined to have to write a comedy about being a cop, that being my first episode. All right, let's get into the screen view. And then I want to talk, I got another point that I want to bring up.
Yeah. So there's no audio to this. This is extremely slow motion. This is him coming around the corner from the gas station. You can see the officers coming behind and a patrol car coming through the gas station as well. This was put out because this is one of the other views that was put out with the OIG report that's already been out. So this incident happened on March 31st. Office of Inspector General already put a report out on April 4th that the suspect obviously was killed by firearm. That's why he was killed. And they found a
high point.
Why is it high point? Why is the this one not working? There it goes. They found a high point 9mm handgun right next to where he fell. Straight from the OIG report. So what is that? Why does that mean anything different? Because the attorney says that it wasn't a gun, that they recovered an evidence beside his body on the scene, that the picture slowed down. That's definitely, yeah, it's a vape pen. It's not a gun. Yeah. So why does all that matter? Because now you're going to have this attorney that's going to go out there and it's going to try to get as many reporters as they can behind. Why? Why would they want to do that? Why? What is that? Oh, because they're going to sue for $40 million.
Yeah, but let's not ask why we're having to brandish guns at a funeral.
Why did they find the gun next to his body? Why did they have a picture of the slow down video of the gun in his hand? Why? Or we'll go back. Because the attorney goes, you know, I'm going to go back to pull some of his specific comments, because I don't want to hear about the fact that he was running and there was a possibility of a gun at some place. Okay. That's what you get a warrant for. That's called exigent circumstance. That's what you do your investigation. That's why they walked up on the car. And then you arrest people accordingly. They were trying to, but he fled on foot. You don't become the judge, jury, and executioner because you feel that something went wrong. No, they were there for a lawful reason. They didn't just randomly stop this black Tahoe on the side of the road. It was a vehicle that was stopped that was potentially involved in a fight, and there was a gun. Lo and behold, after the passenger ran and brandished a gun at the police officer, they found a gun. I mean, the two dots can't be even any more closer to you get that small, tiny line to connect them. But at some point, the attorney is going to go, look at this line over here. And it wasn't a gun, it was a vape pen. But in fact, it was a gun. I would say this is one of the more open and shut, clear cases that we've covered.
Yeah, I think the most important thing about this case is just, again, where we're at as a law enforcement culture, where we don't have a warrior mindset, where we're not prepared to put our hands on anybody, and we're not prepared to do the work that needs to be done because we're more concerned with diversifying our ranks than we are with stacking our ranks with winners. And anybody who was slow to move on this one, you're not a winner, and you should get better. And I hope you learn from this and you get your warrior face paint on, or you get the fuck out and, just go wear regular makeup and go get a job somewhere else. But it's fun and I like it. It doesn't matter. You're putting people's lives in danger. It's not about you. It's about the guy next to you. And you are, or at least put yourself in a position in that department where you can be an asset and you're not part of the problem, because right now she's part of the problem. She wasn't fast enough. She wasn't strong enough, and she didn't have the tactical backup to do anything correctly on this stop. And so, I'm tired of seeing it. And it's not just women. There's other cops out there, fat cops, skinny cops that they have no business. If you're really, really skinny and you cannot hold your own and you're not willing to, you don't have the heart to even try, then don't show up. You know what I mean? If you're fat, if you're overweight, but you don't act overweight and you lift weights and you're ready for the fight and you're mentally there and you're still physically fit, you're just a bigger guy. I don't know what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the fat guy that acts fat, that's sluggish, that's slow, that is not helping out anybody. And matter of fact, we're having to clean up from their mistakes. And so that's the big key take here I wanted to take out of today's case. Real quick before we get out of here, folks, thank y'all for being here. But we have the Holtz Call, Free Holtz Call Project, episode number 1, The Traffic Stop. This is a very serious podcast. We had a meeting yesterday with Michelle Moulton and Jenny Holtzclaw. And so this project is really taking its wings. It should be available on Apple soon. It is on Spotify right now. We really need everybody to go over there and follow this podcast. They're about 45-minute long episodes that there's zero entertainment, there's zero fluff, there's no commercial breaks, there's nothing. This is literally proving to you why Daniel Holtzclaw is innocent, and we want to do our part into trying to get Daniel Holtzclaw free and get his story out. So please, if you find it in your heart, if you believe that Daniel Holtzclaw is innocent of these heinous crimes that he's serving 200 years in prison for, please go and subscribe to this podcast, give it a listen, and share it. That it's free. It doesn't cost you anything to try to get Daniel Holtzclaw free, a man who is guilty of being a Christian white male police officer. That is the only thing he is guilty of, and he is doing 200 years in prison in that. So please be a part of that project. Head over to Spotify right now and give it a 5-star rating and review. Give it a listen. It was not on YouTube at the time. It is an audio platform only. Again, this is like something that we're really trying to take seriously. We're putting a lot of energy into it and make sure our facts are right. And we got to get this right. We have to do it right because it's not about us. It's about Daniel Holtzclaw. And so, it's something bigger than us. So, again, if you can, it's like, that doesn't cost you anything, to share that podcast if you're able to do that. Also, my book, Pig Latin, A Seriously Funny True Story, comes out August 26th. Next week will be the last week. If you are not on the pre-order list, I'm going to start mailing these bookmarks out, and that's it. So I'm giving you guys the last call. If you pre-order the book now, I will send you a custom bookmarker. It's an artist rendition of a story in the book by first responder artist Jonathan Bates. If you buy an additional book for a first responder, I will send you all 4 bookmarkers. They're really cool bookmarkers. That's some of the art. Here, I'll hold up the bookmarkers here, and there's red. That shows you that I'm not anti female police officers. I speak very highly of my partner, Red, in the book. It's not about females. It's about whether you are good enough to do the job or capable enough of doing the job or not. So there we go. We have that. And then Santana True Crime. So Cameron Santana is working with me on a small project, and he started his own podcast on our network called Santana True Crime. So we would love for you guys to go over there and support all of that. We have some meetups coming up in August. It looks like September timeframe, in the Cincinnati area. So if you're in Ohio, put that in your books that we will be with One More and I'm Out of Here podcast, and all those guys in Ohio. We'll have you an official date soon about when that's going to happen. So we will hopefully see you guys in Cincinnati, Ohio in August. In September. And we'll also, that'll be, our book tour is going to go all over the place. So hopefully I get to drop in to a city near you soon. Make sure you share the show, like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. 99% of you guys are on audio, and what we need from you on audio is just a 5-star rating and review. That's what keeps our sponsors happy, and it keeps the show on the road. From everybody here at Failure to Stop Podcast, thank you guys from GhostBed and FactorMeals.com. Promo codes Wolfpack. We appreciate it. Guns up and giddy up. Take us out of here, Joshua.
See you.